adding.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Angle Show. We are finally live. Tons and tons and tons of technical issues. So
It happens to the it happens to the best of us, bro. It is what it is.
Shit happens. It sucks, but I'm glad that we could be live talking about WWE Raw after WrestleMania. Just so many things to uncover, so many things to discuss, and I don't know, man. I'm glad we're live. Definitely some stuff that like we'll have to figure out technical wise. Because I don't know, things are a little bit different now on StreamYard. Apparently,
they are. It looks a little different.
Yeah, they made a couple changes, and we're not using OBS because I was getting increasingly frustrated with OBS throughout the week and WrestleMania week and stuff like that. But thank you guys all for joining us. As always, we'll be able to throw chats and stuff on the screen.
Yep.
So we got Paul, who's a member here. We got a whole bunch of people in the chat. Excuse me. And of course, we'll throw up the super chats and stuff like that too. We got the super chat goal active. We are live. We are multi-streaming between my channel, Billy's channel, as well as Twitter. Or X or whatever you want to call it. We are live everywhere. We are going to hopefully be able to continue multi-streaming. And I'm excited about that. And I don't really want to take up too much time talking about random bullshit because the Angle Show is the best show in the world where we talk about the nitty-gritty of things happening in professional wrestling. Billy TKO, thank you for joining me, brother.
Absolutely.
What just like obviously we'll talk about things more specifically, but what were some of your takeaways from last night's episode of Raw?
That man Triple H cooked and he left no crumbs.
Yeah.
He decided to eat it up. He decided to feast. Last night was amazing.
You know, it's funny because I feel like, if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about going into Raw after Mania, because the last like 15 years have been shit. That's a
Yeah.
little exaggeration, but
Yeah, dude. Vince completely like. I seen somebody talking about it, I think yesterday, but it might have been JD, but he said something along the lines of like, how Vince just one day up and decided that he didn't want the fans to take it over anymore and just completely destroyed what the Raw after WrestleMania was and what it felt like, right? So I have to say, like, I couldn't agree with that statement more.
no.
That yeah, just one day Vince woke up and he took that fun feeling away. You remember when he took away like the beach balls and stuff like that?
I was there when the beach balls thing was a
Yeah.
thing. So like, yeah.
Yeah, so he took away the beach ball. He took away how fun the Raw after WrestleMania really was, and he also took away the importance of it. Like it started to feel just like another Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? That he would just try and put on and run 3 hours of a show, and it felt like the longest 3 hours of all time. But eventually, and it took some time because even the Raw after WrestleMania last year wasn't the greatest, right?
Yeah.
Or 39, obviously, that shit show debacle that we had.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this year was the feeling that we all remembered.
Yeah.
And WWE, I said it in a TikTok that I made. Triple H woke up, he heard all the noise about WrestleMania, woke up, said, "Hold up, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Watch this."
Yeah. I have a crazy analysis on that too, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I'll talk about. I did want to kick things off with a super chat from our good friend Tolino Channel dropping 100 rupees. He said, today's Raw was like fresh air. Cole's lines were spot on. He put stunners, rock bottoms, pedigrees, F5s. Cole to Gunther put me to sleep after nighttime. Dude, I loved Raw last night. I don't think there was one thing that bothered me. I think from a booking perspective, I feel like everything was relatively freaking awesome, honestly. I do want to talk about Michael Cole.
Yeah, we'll get into all that nitty gritty here soon.
Yeah. What an MVP, bro. This guy's so awesome. And,
Man.
this guy was somebody that a lot of people didn't like. A lot of people didn't like Michael Cole for the longest time, but under Triple H's regime, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. This guy's amazing.
I mean, Paul Heyman went on the Pat McAfee show and he said it. He was like, "You were JR's jockey."
Yeah.
For the longest time. And that's really how we viewed him.
No, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
And dude just completely changed everything about himself. And I don't even think he necessarily changed it. I think it was just being more open, right?
Yeah.
So I very much enjoy Michael Cole. And last night, just him getting involved in that story, so cool, man. So fun to see.
And I think I know what it's setting up.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you think it's the Pat McAfee thing? Pat McAfee and Gunther?
No, it's setting up Goldberg and Gunther.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering because, I figured that eventually Bron Breakker would actually go out and face Gunther or go face Goldberg. That was like the speculation that I had in my mind.
I think that's the second match that Goldberg will have.
Okay. All right. So you do think that happens then?
Yeah. Goldberg will have, I think, 2 or 3 matches is what he said publicly. So I would think
Bron Breakker
that
would be one of them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Bron Breakker could retire Goldberg for good. But Gunther going after, like, Goldberg going after Gunther makes a lot of sense here. Pat McAfee can make the call. I think they're writing Pat McAfee off for a little bit. I don't know.
Do you think they write him off for a little bit?
Yeah.
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 Maybe. I know they have the draft coming up, and that's a 3-day event.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Right.
Definitely excited, though. Shout out to Tolino Channel. Phil dropping a $9.99. He says, as soon as I saw Sami in all black and step off the turnbuckle, I tagged you both with the heel turn inevitable. And I'm kayfabe. Jimmy being out there. In kayfabe, Jimmy being out there could be the reason why Sami didn't do it that night. Yeah.
I actually have such a different analysis from that.
Let's hear it.
I actually, I was really behind. And I guess maybe this is where we can actually start, right? I was really behind your Sami Zayn Jey Uso thing,
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense to me. But the more and more I go back to the take that I had, I actually think that there is still very much a heavy possibility that it's Jey who is eventually going to join The Rock. Now, granted, we don't know what The Rock is going to do, and I am mad at The Rock. I am very mad at The Rock. But when we talk about selling our souls, right?
Nah.
You could say nah, but I do think that no matter what, like WWE doesn't care what we think, and they're going to continue what they do.
Yeah.
And obviously, somewhere along the lines, The Rock is going to return and do something here. That's just inevitable. I know people don't want to see it now. I know people are pissed because of what happened, but I do think that eventually we will get an answer from The Rock, right? And I do think that there is going to be more played out here. And the only reason why I say that is when you look at Jay's face, and maybe I'm digging too deep into this, and maybe I'm just overthinking it. But when you looked at Jay's face when Sami actually came out, there wasn't like the excitement that Sami had. It was actually Jey who was more of the disappointed one here. Jey just, he's seen it. It was like, oh, like, yeah, cool. Sammy's here. And then Sammy's coming out. He's giving him a hug. And I was even on my live stream saying it. I was like, man, my stomach's in my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like Sammy's about to turn. And I was like, oh, man, Ango was right. And then we didn't get it. And
yeah, it's not going to happen right away. I told you that, though.
No. I hear you 100%. Whether or not that is the case, I'm watching Jey Uso's mannerisms. How's that sound?
No, I understand.
I'm watching his mannerisms all the way through this.
I appreciate you saying that. There is one thing that I am going to go off on with WWE today, and it's not WWE specifically, but it is WWE's responsibility. I'm going to disagree with you. I stand by my word. Sami Zayn will turn on Jey and eventually become world champion. However long it takes, I don't know, but it's going to happen. I paid attention to Jey, and I thought the segment and everything was cool. Yeah, I think going back to the super chat too, I think Jimmy being there is a reason why Sami didn't do it, because Jimmy would obviously come to the aid of Jey. It's a 1v2 situation. So it's going to happen. It will happen. I don't think Jay's going to sell his soul. In fact, I think we should never fucking talk about selling souls ever again.
I get it. But inevitably, it's going to be something that has to be discussed.
Yeah, and we will. We'll discuss it, and that's where I'm going to go off today. My brother, that's where I'm going off today, because it is over for me and the selling souls bullshit. I'm donezo. It is done. I am never forgiving them for this bullshit. But that's...
But The Rock is on Pat McAfee's show today.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah. We'll have a conversation.
Shout out to Phil for the super chat. Toledo Channel coming through with 40 rupees. He says, today's women's division equals menu card in a restaurant. I really don't know what that means, menu card in a restaurant. But you put the flame emoji, so I'm assuming it means something good. I'll throw this out there. Last night's women's division showcase was the fucking coolest thing I've seen.
Beautiful shit. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah, just huge props to WWE, getting Stephanie and Julia out there and Roxanne, and it's good. I love it. I thought that was really, really dope. So, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying it, but WWE overall as a company has the best women's roster in all of professional wrestling.
1,000%.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Like I'm officially on the record for that, bro. I think it's too hard to sit here and act like it's not the case, because for the longest time it was TNA, like literally for a long time. Long time. And then I said it was NXT, but WWE as a whole, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, it's stacked.
No, facts. That's huge facts.
Yeah. Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. Jay Henry, my boy, what's up, brother? He dropped to $4.99. He says, appreciate the content. Raw after Mania was the best ever. Made up for everything except Bayley. I see the vision in for the ride 100%. It's funny because the whole Bayley situation, and Billy, you could kind of chime in and let me know if you disagree. But
yeah,
I think the Bayley situation, if we're taking Triple H for his word that everything is all go with Bayley, she's a true professional, then I think this is the perfect thing to get her going as the number one heel on WWE Raw. I think when I look at, I know yesterday we got the Becky Lynch heel turn. It's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
As I've stated even before, Becky's going to be heel. Seth Rollins heel. They both need to be heel. Personally speaking, though, I'm very, very geeked about this possibility of Bayley being heel. And I'm going to throw it out there, man. If Becky joins Paul Heyman and Seth, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Bayley join Paul Heyman and Seth as well. Have 2 women in there. That's a whole different theory, a whole different thing. But
Yeah,
I would love to see this being used to propel Bayley as a heel. I enjoy her more as a heel. I think she was awesome in Damage Control. But let this whole thing of her missing Mania be the thing that catapults her. Blur the lines a little bit.
for sure.
Triple H stood there at the press conference saying, "I'm a true professional." Yeah, it's like the Karrion Kross thing on the Raw recap or WrestleMania recap podcast, like where he just goes off script. Do that kind of stuff, man. Blur the lines. This is the kind of stuff that people want to see. So definitely see the vision.
Yeah, just real fast, if you don't mind, I want to chime in on this. I actually think that, one thing that they can play into is how Bayley's just been overlooked.
Yeah.
She has completely been and I'm not going to say, like, obviously we don't sit here and do it. Like, we've appreciated Bayley's work. We know what Bayley has done, but I think she can play into that split audience that doesn't appreciate her work and doesn't necessarily understand or know all of the things that she has really done, because she's been a part of some of the greatest things that we've seen. You know what I mean? And she's really played such a big factor in making this women's division what it is today. So I think that her in playing into that overlooked factor could be really good as a heel. So kind of going back to what you said a moment ago of just, looking like that number 1 heel in the company. I think they could easily do that with her.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree. Shout out to Jay Henry for the super chat. Myra coming through with $9.99. She says, Jay didn't look all that happy when Sammy's music hit. And once Jimmy's music hit, I thought, well, this is the end. They're both turning on Jay. Just a matter of time. I think you pointed out the mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense for Jay to turn heel. You don't turn Jay heel when he is this hot as a babyface. I mean, just look at the reactions. Look at the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely mean this with all my heart. I think, and it's nothing against Jimmy. In fact, I think Jimmy has been very impressive on SmackDown as a singles guy.
Yeah.
Let's keep them separate. Jay is, we seen him wrestle Jimmy. They both weren't proud of their match. And I feel I never like to really talk about match quality because I'm not a professional wrestler. I think it's so silly that a lot of people in the IWC.
Yeah, why would we ever talk about the quality of a match when none of us are really getting out there and doing it?
I will say, hey, I like this match. I didn't like this match, but I don't sit there and talk about people being able to do moves or not being able to do moves. There's reasons for it. I'm not a wrestling critic. I'm a TV show critic at the end of the day. That's kind of how I look at things. But I did feel as if the situation with Jimmy and Jay last year was not particularly that good. The good news is I'm not saying something that they haven't said themselves. They kind of agree, right?
Yeah.
I stick to my guns. I said it months and months ago. I pointed this out. I told you guys exactly what is happening. It actually genuinely feels, which, by the way, shout out to the chat, because I swear to God, this means the world that you guys actually pay attention to what we say on the show. It means the world when you guys recognize that like something is happening on Raw and your first instinct is to say, oh my God, Ango, Billy, you guys talked about this months ago. And I keep getting the tweets, not just with WrestleMania, not just with Seth Rollins, but now the Sami Zayn thing. It's happening. Sami turning on Jay is going to be great. And Sammy's going to eventually get his world championship. And he deserves it, man. This is a guy that's been a Triple H guy forever. He stuck around and sometimes he was bad. He was, not bad, like he personally wasn't bad, but he was handled bad things and he turned shit into gold sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I think he'll be awarded. And I think the best part is when you read this super chat, just like how you mentioned with like the mannerisms and stuff, Jay didn't look all that happy. Yeah, Jay wouldn't look happy for somebody randomly coming out. If you just logically think like, oh my God, I'm trying to celebrate my title. It's another guy coming out. Sammy's there.
That's the difference here is, and to argue your point a little bit, I guess the difference here and what you're trying to make up is that, I do understand where you're coming from. Like logically, yes, if it were just a random guy, but that's not just a random guy. That's Sami.
Correct. Uso. But now let's think logically. Where was Sami when Jay was getting his ass beat by Gunther all those weeks? And all that stuff.
Well, and Sami mentioned that. Sami did mention that, but again, those mannerisms never changed. So I don't know. There's a double-edged sword here. I do believe that there's a world again, maybe not selling your soul, right? Maybe not selling the soul. Maybe we don't have to go that far, but maybe a Jey Uso heel turn eventually, because I don't know in what world we live right now. Because Sami, I do agree, logically makes sense for the heel turn. But there's also a world where we can now argue that a Jey Uso heel turn makes sense, because as much as you say, oh yeah, look at the fans, look at how hot he is, da da da. Again, just kind of going back to the Bayley situation, when we talk about a split audience, Jey very much has a split audience. Maybe it's not live and in person, but they're acknowledging this split audience. They're saying, oh yeah, people are saying that Jey can't wrestle. They're saying these things about Jey. So there is logically a reason for Jey to maybe turn heel down the line, or we go the Sami route. Either or genuinely to me works.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. It doesn't work for me, brother.
That's fine. That's fine.
But this could also be the reason why it doesn't work for me is because I talk a lot about staleness, and that's where it's like right now Jey isn't stale. I feel like
No,
he's just kind of
he's
beginning.
absolutely not.
I do feel like Sami was getting stale as a babyface.
For sure.
And so
For sure.
that's why I would do that. But we'll see. Who knows? You never know. That's the beauty of this. Shout out to Myra for the $9.99. Appreciate you so much, Myra. Billy got a super chat on his channel from Nathan Preston for $4.99. He says Papa H back again with the credits. Well, yeah, it's he's the executive producer and the writer of the show, so they do the credits and they put them out there.
That's my boy, Nate.
Let me ask you, Billy, do you hate this attention, with Triple H being front and center? I look at social media. A lot of people seem to be bothered by that. What do you think about that?
By Triple H actually being the one front and center.
Yeah.
It's very, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's very Dana White.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, whether we hate it, whether we love it, at the end of the day, they're going to do it. This isn't even so much a WWE thing. I actually think this is more of like a TKO thing.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, TKO wanting Triple H to be put out there and the one kind of waving the flag around. Now, here's the thing is when you do that, you create a lot of controversy, right?
Yeah.
Because Dana White has obviously created a lot of controversy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I hate it? No, I don't, because I think this is just, a business always needing that front runner guy, and who better than Triple H, right? Somebody who really loves the business, knows the business, and understands it, right? I don't think there actually is a better guy. Do I hate some of the things that he says? Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't take away from, the things that he's doing, right? Like last night, what we get was amazing.
Yeah.
But again, night 2 of WrestleMania was absolute dog water. You know what I'm saying? It was no good, except, don't let me say it was no good, because the whole card itself up until that main event was just very underwhelming. I'm over here blasting something that isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm gonna call you out on something. You were literally saying how the whole night 2 was awesome, but the main event, you didn't like the main event.
Yes, that's what I'm going and saying here, is that don't let me call something out that isn't necessarily true.
Okay.
I loved the show itself.
Yeah.
The night 2 was really good. The main event to me was very underwhelming, like we talked about on the post show.
Yeah.
So, Triple H gets the flack for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess it's just like, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. He deserves the credit, but he also deserves the bad when it happens. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna sit here and defend Triple H. So for those who enjoy I see I got a tweet that popped off yesterday too, because a lot of people just want to flame Triple H. I'll tell you the issue with Triple H. Triple H is the best booker in professional wrestling.
Nathan, by the way, real fast, Nathan commented. He said Triple H teasing the end of the show is what I was trying to say. So he was saying Papa H back at it again with the credits. So at the end of the show, when he showed the credits and then how it ended, that's what he meant by this.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. But this has led to a great conversation. And
it has.
It's a point that I've wanted to make, and I know this is going to piss off Twitter, which is cool. Fuck Twitter. I don't care. Everybody wants to hate on Triple H. Everybody wants to hate on WWE. It is becoming the thing in the IWC, because WWE does not give a fuck about the IWC. WWE has made it very clear they do not care about the public opinion from the IWC. And so a lot of people think, oh, well, Ango's part of the IWC and he should feel this way as well. But I don't. I think Triple H is the best booker that has ever existed in the last 20 years. Okay. I don't think anybody has booked better wrestling shows than Triple H. Fair. Now, that is so controversial to people, which is fine. I love it. Fucking bury me on Twitter. I don't care. But the reality is, people want to hate Triple H so bad because he is front and center. People say, oh, it should be about the stars. It should be about this. No, that's not how it works. That's not how WWE has ever operated. WWE has always cared about the personal brand being bigger than everything. This is why there's advertisements everywhere. This is why WWE is a capitalistic business that is trying to make as much money as possible and monetizing it. Okay, I fucking hate you, Triple H, for doing that. But then every other wrestling company is doing the same exact thing. They just can't do it on the scale of WWE. If they were able to do it on the scale of WWE, mark my fucking words, Billy, they would do it. They can't. The reason why they can't is because WWE is the biggest fucking company in professional wrestling. So WWE is maximizing every single thing. So now we got to hate Triple H for that. We got to hate Triple H because of his answers at the media scrum. Oh, we have to hate Triple H because his mother-in-law works for the Trump administration. Oh, we got to hate Triple H because he talked about Trump. We got to hate Triple H because of booking. We got to 99.9% of the time, the criticism actually has nothing to do with the show. It just has everything to do with what TKO and WWE are doing. And
it's more of a personal vendetta.
It is 100%. Mark my words, there's no person, there's not a billionaire, there's not an individual in this world. I'm not even talking businesses. There's not an individual in this world that will sit here and do something for free.
No,
it is always for money. Yeah, it is always for money. No matter what, there has to be. It's human nature. Your favorite word. It's human nature, though, for everybody to be transactional. We live in a transactional society, and I'm speaking up about this because I'm very passionate about this. Everything in this world has this mentality. Every person.
Hey, brother. I hate to cut you short.
Yeah.
I'm having. I just got a text from my mom.
Okay.
I need to go to my house.
You're good.
My mom's house. I'm so sorry, guys. I love you guys. And I will be back tomorrow. I'm so sorry.
You're good,
sorry.
Brother. Do your thing.
All right. Yep.
Okay, so that's not a big deal. Things happen. Emergencies happen, whatever it may be. Not a big deal. Shout out to Billy. Thank you, Billy, for being here, and hopefully everything goes well. But my point that I was trying to make was that with professional wrestling, with the society, everything is transactional. People do not do things for others without hoping that they get something in return. And so every person looks at life like a business. Everything is transactional. And I feel like we are at the point in professional wrestling, and this is where the conversation, people get upset with me about it, but we are at a stage in professional wrestling where, in my honest and most humbling opinion, people want to hate Triple H for reasons that aren't necessarily valid. And I get yelled at because I call it fake outrage, but I do genuinely believe that. I'm going to give shit to Triple H when I deem it necessary, but I'm not going to jump on this train of, oh, Triple H is a fan of Trump, I should hate him. And that's just not going to happen, bro. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Justin Kennington dropping $4.99. He says Paul's new faction should be Seth, Bron, Carmelo, and Ethan Page. I want like 8 people in this group. I want like a lot of people in this group. And I think, Justin, for me personally, as a fan of Paul Heyman, I want women in this group. I want young up-and-comers in this group. I want vets in this group. Why stop at 3 or 4 members? Put 8. I mean, we were just talking about this the other day. Like, have big factions, you know? So that's kind of how I look at it. And I'm not going to change my mind on that. Honest to God. I'm really not. I think Paul Heyman having Ethan Page is a great idea. I think Carmelo Hayes is a great idea. I think Ethan Page he's not necessarily a young up-and-comer, but he's a very, very reliable talent. I would definitely utilize him. I'm okay with that for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just kind of how I look at things, I swear. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, I'm good with that. Carmelo Hayes is interesting because he just won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He's kind of doing stuff right now with The Miz. We'll see what that leads to. But if Paul Heyman brought in Carmelo Hayes, I am not opposed to it whatsoever. So I am for that. Thank you, Justin, for the super chat. If there's anybody else who wants to join the show, I know Billy walked out. He had an emergency. If anybody else wants to join the show, you have a free invite. Let me know. Salino Channel dropping 100 rupees. He says, if Kathy Kelly takes a managerial role, which women should get her as a manager? Raw, SmackDown, or NXT call-up? Also, would you like a Paul Heyman gal? Yeah, I've been talking about a Paul Heyman gal for months now. Literally, I have been. That's when I talked about Seth Rollins building this new faction with Paul Heyman. I literally said Becky, Seth, and that was like, what, a month ago? Regarding Kathy Kelly, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. I covered it in today's video. I think Kathy Kelly is going to be a very, very interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what she does in this particular situation. If she's going to be a manager, I would have her manage. I don't know who I would have her manage, actually. Now that I think about it, I swear. I really don't know who I would have her manage. But I would have her manage somebody that actually needs it, for sure. I would say that. I would say it needs to be somebody that like genuinely needs a talking piece. And perhaps that could be like a really good thing for, I don't even know, man. I can't think. I think somebody who might need a mouthpiece. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people on the main roster are relatively good at talking. So maybe something in NXT. Maybe try something with NXT and see what happens there. I don't know. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. Joe Hendry. Jay Henry dropping $4.99. Go back and watch. Sami told Jay he wanted to be the first to congratulate him before heavily emphasizing Jay was his brother when Jimmy was. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. It's an interesting situation. It's rather difficult to see where this is going because I just think it makes more sense for Sami to be heel. But I think even having like Jay having to choose between Jimmy and Sami could be kind of a fun storyline too. But you don't really know how that's going to go. I think that's the part that kind of makes it a little bit more frustrating is they can go a million ways with it. But I think the only correct way is for Jimmy and Jay to be babyface. And then I would have Sami turn heel. And I'm not going to change my mind on that. Give me a second, sorry. Guys, the chat is moving fast. It is very difficult to keep up with this. But yeah, man. Jay, I'll tell you this. I do want to make this point too. Why did I put on the green screen function? I don't know why I did that by accident. I think, in my personal opinion, if Jey Uso were to turn heel, you have to start doing it when it really dies down. And because it's not stale yet, that's why Sami has to turn heel. And I'll kind of leave it at that. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Seriously, it means a lot, man. Excuse me. Is there a shortcut to mute? Let's see. I don't know if there's hotkeys on the software. There is. Okay, cool. So this way when I cough, I don't have to cough into the microphone. Sorry, guys. Phil dropping $4.99. He says, I think the third man in this group with Seth, Bron, and Paul could be McIntyre. Drew and Seth have been through war, but the respect is always there. Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong answer there. I don't think they can go wrong anywhere here. And I hate to be the one to say this and talking about this because it really bothers me so much. This bothers me. I don't think people know this. But for fuck's sake, if Kevin Owens wasn't injured, would this have been the move? Seth Owens, Braun Breaker, somebody else? I don't know, man. You have to wonder if that would have been potentially in the mix. Really. Seth and Drew have been through war, but a friend of a friend, an enemy of a friend. Wait, how does it go? I forgot the quote. Enemy of a friend, friend of an enemy is now my enemy. I forgot. You guys know what I'm trying to say, though. I can't even think about it right now, but it would make sense for them to come together. And I think we'll find out who it is on SmackDown. You never know. Maybe even we see Paul Heyman on NXT tonight. I think we'll see some people from the main roster move down to NXT tonight as well. So now I have to watch NXT. I'm super excited after Stand and Deliver, but now it's like, hey, let's see what they do, you know? Shout out to Phil for the super chat, brother. Thank you so much. If you're not at work, bro, I don't know if you're at work or not, but if you're not at work, come through. Join the stream. Darth Bane dropping $1.99. He says, I'd put Karrion Kross with Heyman's group. Damn, you know, I don't know how I feel about Karrion Kross being in another faction. But here's the thing. I don't want it to necessarily be a faction, right? I kind of want it to be a situation where they're all aligned. It's an alliance, right? But they still have like their singles goals and stuff like that. But Karrion Kross, I think, is in line for a major push. I think it's pretty obvious. That'd be cool. I think Karrion being solo would be pretty badass. Karrion Kross, I don't know if you guys saw the thing with Sam Roberts and Megan Morant, by the way, but if you didn't see that, check that shit out because that shit was cool as fuck. That was cool. He's like blurring the lines and stuff. I love that guy. Dude, Karrion Kross is such a G. But just remember, Karrion Kross is always lurking in the background. He was lurking behind Sami. He was lurking behind, all these people, bro. Karrion Kross has. I don't think there's a better storyteller in WWE than him. So whatever they do with him, I'm excited for. I don't care if they put him in a faction or not. I love the guy. I think he's great. Shout out to Darth Bane for the super chat, bro. Thank you so much, man. Jonathan Lizaraga came through with $4.99. He says, what about Jeff Cobb with Seth and Braun? I'm not opposed to this either. Bringing in an outsider from New Japan Pro Wrestling to be in this group, being the heavy, I'm with it, bro. I'm with it. I don't think you could go wrong with him. You have him debut on SmackDown. Literally, this upcoming SmackDown, you have him debut. Have him take somebody out. I'm so down for that. So down. There's no way I would be against that. No way. Who does Jeff Cobb take out? I don't know. What about Aleister Black? I don't think you could be wrong with Aleister Black. There shouldn't be a group that's like cohesive. It's just got to be a group of killers. If you bring a group of killers out there, bro, ooh, it's such a game changer, man. Such a game changer. I'm down for that. I swear to God. Shout out to Jonathan for the super chat. True Styles coming through with $2. He says, Austin Theory is my choice. Brother, I talked about it in my video today. I am not opposed to this. Absolutely not opposed to this. There is no way I would be opposed to this. Austin Theory has history with Seth Rollins. He's been teasing a breakup with Grayson Waller for like 2 years now. Do it. Officially break them up. Have him become a Paul Heyman guy. I'm down with it, bro. I'm down with it. 100%. And Austin Theory is sick, bro. He's another guy that the IWC loves to hate, but You're just not going to see that from me. You're just not going to see that from me. You're not going to see that from me. Shout out to True Styles for the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Who knows? Who knows where they go with this route? I swear. Yeah. A lot of good theories. Oh shit. That was scary. My audio just like went crazy in my headphones. There's a lot of different ways for them to go about this. So I'm going to throw this in here. I thought that was kind of funny. Crazy Blade says it seems like they're copying a lot of AEW ideas. No, they're copying literally the Dangerous Alliance. Paul E. dangerously lives forever. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see what they do there. Paul dropping a $2 super chat. He says, kind of confusing. Is Orton on the SmackDown roster? Yeah, but this is a story that carries over to SmackDown. It's just the Raw after WrestleMania. I'm not really mad about it. We've seen people crossing back and forth. And it's WrestleMania week, bro. This is Las Vegas. You know, you got to remember they're in Las Vegas. A lot of people, a lot of tourism. You're going to stack the shows. So I don't really have a problem with that. I think some people want it to be a problem, but it doesn't have to be that strict right now. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. SmackDown, let's talk about the Randy Orton thing, by the way. Randy Orton and John Cena feud is going to slap. I'm excited about it. No Cody Rhodes last night, but John Cena doing that promo. John Cena getting RKO'd was really cool. And it's going to suck for Randy Orton to lose in St. Louis, but my God, how can you not get excited for Backlash St. Louis now? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it, I swear. We'll see what happens, bro. We'll see what happens. Shout out to Paul for the super chat. Justo Alvarez says, I think some TNA wrestlers are going to be on NXT tonight. That is a possibility. I think we'll see a main roster star or two move down to NXT as well. So that'll be cool. Darth Bane, who's a member on the channel, says, I feel like it's too soon for Randy and Cena, though. Randy should be the one to take the belt off Cena towards the end of the year. Yeah, it's possible. I think that's a possibility. And what's really cool is you start the program now and you do a little bit more. Randy Orton gets cheated, you know, in St. Louis by Travis Scott. Woo! Who knows? But you continue the story. It doesn't have to end at Backlash. So I'm okay with that. Brad Silberberg dropping a $2 super chat. How about House of Black, Damian, Rhea, and Malachi? Well, they can't do House of Black. That's for sure. They can't do House of Black. That's just not going to happen. They can't. I don't know if I want Aleister Black to have a faction. If I'm being honest, I feel like, yeah. So I don't think Aleister Black should have a faction because we saw House of Black in AEW. I want to see Aleister Black go up the singles route, be a singles guy for a little bit. Just putting a whole bunch of people with a shit ton of tattoos in a group isn't that exciting to me. I don't know. But what I'll say is this. I'm not going to shit on the idea. As long as they can make it cool and have good booking with it, and they do it organically, I'm down. Yeah. Shout out to Brad Silverberg on the super chat. The Rock was on Pat McAfee, and I wanted to read this quote to you guys. The Rock confirmed that Ari Emanuel called him about Elimination Chamber and said, "We need your help. Ticket sales are slow, and the PLE is the conduit to WrestleMania. But how do we create a chamber that people must tune in to see? Will the final boss show up?" Rock then basically described how the concept of the whole soul came about, selling your soul. The Rock's appearance was intended to help sell tickets and make people feel like they had to watch Chamber. Rock also revealed that involving Cody and him selling his soul was a temperature check in terms of Cody actually turning heel, and The Rock said it's something that should happen based on the crowd's reactions. The Rock also revealed that it was Triple H who suggested Cena turn heel, and The Rock loved the idea. Bullshit. Get the hell out of here. You don't come into Elimination Chamber to create a big moment and to do a temperature check only for there to be no consistency or follow-up with it. Sorry, friends. I'm not buying it. There's a lot of people who want to be pissed at Triple H, and I get it. I understand that people could be mad about Triple H in this. The Rock shows up because they needed to sell tickets. Then, motherfucker, you better be there every single week. I love you, Rock. Dwayne Johnson, you are the man. You are, I fucking absolutely love watching you. You show up on Elimination Chamber. You show up at Bad Blood. This is not how it's supposed to work, bro. I'm sorry. Respectfully. I'm sorry. This whole idea of selling your soul, John Cena sells his soul. You set up the WrestleMania match. You're not there for WrestleMania. You're not there for Raw after WrestleMania. You cannot just be the tool that comes in very quickly to sell more tickets. You need to be the tool because you could sell more tickets, by the way, if The Rock is there actually pushing the story through. There is an opportunity, 1,000,000%. There is an opportunity where you don't need to call The Rock every single time to sell tickets because WWE has done just fine selling tickets without The Rock. So The Rock, I love you, bro. You're the man, but you made Triple H's job very hard. It's called continuity. When you're not there in the biggest program, but you're only there to help sell tickets, but you're not there to follow through, there is no continuity. Wrestling fans buy tickets to their shows because there's continuity. Every storyline has follow-up. Every story has something there. And I'm sorry, but I cannot be the one to sit here and act like it's cool with me. Triple H gets the shit for it, but it's not Triple H's fault. It's The Rock's. I'm going to stand on that forever. I'm truly going to stand on that forever. Oh, the whole idea of Cody selling his soul was a temperature check. That don't work for me, brother. I don't know. The Rock, I'm sorry, dog, but that just pissed me off. True Styles dropping a $2 super chat. He says Cena is not ending his career as a babyface. I don't think he will. But what's crazy is True Styles dropped another super chat for $2 and he says, I meant Cena is ending his career as a babyface. If he ends it as a babyface, I don't think, listen, I think John Cena stays as a heel, but whoever beats John Cena for the belt, probably Cody Rhodes, I think we'll see them embrace. I think we'll see John Cena endorse him. So technically speaking, he would be a babyface in that moment. But leading up to that moment, I think John Cena remains a heel. I have no problem with John Cena being heel. I don't know. That's just kind of the way I'm seeing it. But True Styles, I appreciate the super chats, bro. I appreciate it. I'm curious. Do you guys want to see Cena as a babyface or a heel? That's up to you guys. You let me know. Crazy, bro. Shout out to True Styles. Damn, what a great stream, bro. What a great stream. Myra coming through at $4.99. She says, preach, Angle. The Rock needs to be held accountable because he really showed up not to show up. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the reason why I have an issue with this. Honest to God. I feel like The Rock was, in my opinion, the issue. I'm not going to change my mind. How can Triple H creatively tell a story without The Rock there? If The Rock is not going to be there, how can he tell the story? And what I hate about The Rock right now, what really disappointed me was I don't trust Dave Meltzer for shit, but Dave Meltzer pointed out that The Rock was not going to be at WrestleMania several months ago. And The Rock goes to Instagram and says, don't believe in this. Don't believe this. So he himself basically said he was going to be at WrestleMania. And then he didn't show up to WrestleMania. You fucking made Dave Meltzer right. Dave Meltzer is never right. And The Rock made him correct. He made it look like Meltzer was truthful. The Rock needs to be held accountable, bro. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I don't think The Rock genuinely cares about WWE. And I don't think... TKO could very well lose me, by the way. I don't care. Make your money. Put the ads on the ring. 20 million ads, sponsored matches. Do all that. I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. No problem. I'm not tripping. But there's a big but here. If you're going to go into business like this, then you make sure it is very clear that The Rock does not have any creative input. And The Rock follows the script that Triple H gives him. Because if it interrupts Triple H's way of booking, it is a problem. Accountability. The problem is the people at the top don't have to be held accountable. It's the everyday people that have to be accountable. The wrestlers have to be accountable. Be a soldier. Do this for us. Do it this way. This is what we want. But when it's the people in the suits at the very top, they don't need to be held accountable. That's the problem. And The Rock is not going to be held accountable because Ari Emanuel loves him. In fact, I would say that there's probably going to be, at some point, a very, very, very controversial power struggle between The Rock and Triple H. Not in kayfabe, but in real life. And that's the thing. Justin the Universe said, to be fair, there was no guarantee or indication he had to show up at WrestleMania. The Rock said on social media he would be at WrestleMania. He said not to believe the dirt sheets when the dirt sheets reported that he wouldn't be. So when he showed up at Elimination Chamber and he had already previously said before that he was going to be at WrestleMania, that's the problem. Shout out to Myra for the super chat. Jay Henry dropping $4.99. I got 10 to 15 minutes. Ethan Page, Waller, Theory, and Becky would be ideal for the faction, but grow it through SummerSlam and bigger than Evolution. Definitely bigger than Evolution. I don't want to see 4 members. I want to see more. That's personally what I would like to see. Yeah. Ethan Page, I'm down. Austin Theory, I'm down. Waller, I'm not. But who knows? Maybe. I'm not going to shit on any idea, bro. Let me just be really clear. I'm not shitting on any idea. I see you guys in the chat coming up with ideas. I don't think it's fair to shit on an idea like that because you don't know. It's a new idea. This faction is a new thing that they're doing. So I'm all for them trying different things. 100%. I'm down for them trying different things. I have no problem with it. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Put whoever you want in there, but whoever you put in there, hopefully you have a plan. That's all I'm asking for. If you're going to put Waller, Theory, Becky, Ethan, this person, that person, you want to put Omos in the group, I don't care. Have a plan. As long as they have a plan. Don't just throw somebody in the group just for them to do that and have no reason for it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm looking at it, personally. Shout out to Jay Henry for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of stuff in the chat, man. It's kind of hard to keep up with. I do appreciate you guys being engaged, though. Over almost 400 viewers live on the stream, so appreciate you guys watching on YouTube as well as Twitter and everywhere else. My co-host Billy had a family emergency that he had to attend to, so please just understand that we had to kind of change things up last minute. He was with us live. Myra coming through with another $9.99 banger. She says, I really do feel for Triple H because he's the only one that has to show his face and stay to clean up The Rock's mess. He actually cares about the business. And that's where I have the fear that eventually it's going to lead to an issue. It's going to lead to an issue between Triple H and The Rock because The Rock is an executive member of the board and he could come in. Ari Emanuel calls him in and says, be the savior. Save us, bro. We need more ticket sales. Bullshit. Elimination Chamber was doing fine with ticket sales. That's the first thing. But call The Rock. The Rock is going to be Superman. The Rock's going to be Superman for the WWE. It hurts Triple H, bro. It hurts Triple H. You did a temperature check and asked Cody to sell his soul. Bro. Then you had John Cena turn heel. Now it kind of makes sense as to why, honestly, it kind of makes sense as to why John Cena doesn't bring up The Rock. There's no commitment from The Rock. No commitment from The Rock. And it ties Triple H's hands. I guarantee you Triple H is annoyed. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I don't know. Strong prediction, but having worked in the corporate environment, I think that's the case. And Alberto says in the chat, I feel like you guys want Triple H and I feel like you want Triple H and The Rock to have issues with each other. The Rock said he didn't even know Travis Scott was at WrestleMania. Well, brother, Triple H is trying to have continuity. What do you mean? The Rock wasn't even backstage at WrestleMania, bro. Let's not listen. And this is huge for me. This is a big deal. I'm being honest. You have Travis Scott at Elimination Chamber with The Rock. You can't get The Rock. You got to have continuity at some point. So Travis Scott helping John Cena is the closest continuity element that you can have. At the very least, if The Rock is not going to be there, you got to at least have Travis Scott. That was the point. That was what they set up at Elimination Chamber. And no, I don't want The Rock and Triple H to have issues. I just can't imagine somebody coming in whenever they fucking feel like it or whenever the big CEO says, hey, we need you to come save the day. Then they pitch a story and they put a story on TV. And then, by the way, hey, I can't be there. I got a movie schedule. I got this. I'm too busy for the WWE. So if you want him there to sell tickets, don't have him involved in the story. And don't start a new story. I'm sorry. I don't respect it. I love The Rock. I'm a huge fan of The Rock. If I met The Rock, I would shake his hand and say thank you for the entertainment. But the things that I'm saying here, I would tell The Rock directly, bro. I know you're busy. I know you got other things going on. You're successful for a reason. I don't hate that. But if you're going to come on WWE TV, do not be instrumental in a storyline if you cannot be committed to it. It's all about being held accountable. It's all about being held accountable. Shout out to Myra for the $9.99. Thank you. Jay Henry coming through with $1.99. He says, Jay and Travis Scott Netflix debut. Just a coincidence? Well, this was part of Billy's theory. And I know Billy obviously had to go because of a family emergency, but he did. He talked about this. Billy had a theory that maybe Jay sells his soul. But apparently The Rock is on this fucking Pat McAfee show, and he has no plans to even be part of the story. It was just a temperature check. That's a problem, bro. That's a problem. So weird. So weird. I genuinely don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Now, I'm going to say this. If you're going to turn Jay heel and do something with Travis Scott and John Cena, but The Rock is not there, I'm not interested. If The Rock ain't there, don't do this. Just stick with Travis Scott and John Cena. That's it. and build up the Paul Heyman faction. That's very clear where people are excited and people are interested. That's what people are interested in. So, but we'll see. We'll see if they have Jey turn heel or not. Hopefully, it's good. I think it's risky, and I think Sami should be the heel, but yeah. I'm excited to see what happens, though. NXT's tonight. We got SmackDown Friday. It's a banger, bro. Shout out to Jay Henry for the $1.99. We got a super chat from Darren Buss dropping $1.99. He says Cena versus Miro. Rusev. Rusev is back in the WWE. Loved it. Super excited about it. I think that was a really cool thing to see. Obviously, I knew he would be back, and I knew he'd be going to Raw, and I had been talking about that, but yeah, man, I was geeked about it. I was definitely geeked about it. I think it's going to be really cool to see what they do with Rusev, but I don't want to see him versus Cena. Right now, I'm more interested in the Randy Orton thing. I think Rusev needs to be up there, Intercontinental Championship, and a future World Heavyweight Championship. But I don't know if Triple H will ever do it. We'll see. Shout out to Darren Buss for the super chat. Myra coming through with a 1999 banger. Banger. She says, if you've ever had to do a group project, then understand. Triple H is trying to move the project along and meet deadline, and The Rock is nowhere to be found until he decides to peek his head in and stroke his ego and then disappear. Fucking beautiful analogy, Myra. This is 100% the truth. That's exactly the situation. And then when it's time to present the project, right? When it's time to present the project, that motherfucker's right there trying to take credit for all the work. That's what it feels like, bro. I don't know. I think this is such a great analogy. Fuck, I wish Billy was here. I'm going to talk about this probably tomorrow with Billy, too, because I just love this analogy. I think, you know, it's like obviously he had to go deal with his family emergency, but I think Billy, he enjoyed WrestleMania Night 2, and me and him talked about it with the review show. It's like he didn't enjoy the fact that The Rock wasn't there. So I am dying to hear what Billy's reaction is to this. I'm dying to hear what his reaction is to this. But I'm going to go out and say that more than likely, Billy would agree with me, and Billy would agree with this right here. And that's the truth, bro. That's the truth. I hated doing group projects in school when I was younger because I was the type of dude that, like, don't bother me. Let's just get it going and finish it and get a fucking A. You know? It's like a group project, especially when you're forced to be in a group project with people that you don't really vibe with or people you don't really like. And I don't know. I just have a really sneaking suspicion that The Rock makes Triple H's job harder. I cannot imagine being Triple H and liking working with The Rock right now. What the fuck do I know? I'm just a mark on the internet who gets to talk about wrestling. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Shout out to Myra for the 1999 banger. This is going to be a super chat that we're going to talk about even more tomorrow. I want to get Billy's opinion on this because that's a big one. One thing I want to say too, there's some talks, and I'm going to throw this out here. Guys, first and foremost, I see it gets brought up in the chat. When it comes to the questions and comments, super chats and members always have higher priority. Just so you guys are aware. But one thing, you know, I've personally heard this, that Miles Bourne is set for a major push, a huge push. Everybody keeps talking about this new Evolution group. Who's going to be the young Randy Orton? Why not make it Miles Bourne? Because Miles Bourne is like Randy Orton. Looks like him, acts like him. He is him. So why not have him join Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker? I'm just saying, food for thought, bro. Food for thought. Either way, I'm really excited to see what happens. I thought Raw was sick, bro. Honestly, everything that we saw with WrestleMania and then going into Raw after Mania, I just feel like there's so much stuff. The women's division on fire. And really, that's what I seem to have enjoyed the most was like just really good follow up to everything. And I wasn't anticipating it, honestly. I was not anticipating a good Raw after Mania just because after so many years, it really hasn't been that good. So I was very excited to see that. Very excited to see that. SmackDown needs to have the same energy. Be prepared. SmackDown's about to be sick. My predictions is Fraxium gets called up to SmackDown. I think we see Fraxium, Lola Vice, Trick Williams. We see Aleister Black there. There's going to be more call-ups, bro. There's going to be so much. Plus, we got the draft. But I would have Ethan Page there. Yeah. God, I can't stand watching this Rock thing, bro. I can't stand watching this Rock thing. It's bothering me so much. So much. Yes, we get surprises tonight on NXT. Enjoy. And I'm not going to spoil it. I am not going to spoil it, and I'm not going to make a video on it, but I will tell you guys, I have personally been told that they have something really cool planned. And the thing that is really cool that's planned is something that, if it comes true, I will tell you guys right now. Like, if this is for real happening, I think a lot of people will be happy. But you guys probably know what this is based on watching my show and what I talk about. Yeah. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been over an hour. I had to go solo after Billy left me. Again, he had a family emergency, so it happens. He says he'll be back tomorrow. He did text me. He'll keep me up to date. But if he's not able to come back tomorrow, then I will be happy to find another co-host to join us. We smashed our super chat goal. We gained a lot of new subscribers. We are on the way to making history, baby. Getting closer and closer to 100K subscribers. So if you guys aren't subscribed, click subscribe. The Angle Show live Monday through Friday, every single day, 12 p.m. Yeah, man. I'm excited for tomorrow. We'll get some new videos out. If you guys didn't watch today's video, top WWE star might be leaving. Check it out. And thank you guys for the love. Thank you guys for the love to Billy as well. Appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.